we'll swing back to you once we hear about Arup's. And I think his banner in the background will tell us a lot about what his day-to-day activities revolve around. Over to you, Arup, if you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Notun Jivan in Bengali means new life. My new life actually started when I met Mother Teresa in 1968, when I was thrown out of the locality. So my journey started there. In the first 4 days, she didn't have space in Nirmal Hriday. In fact, right now I'm shooting just beside her ashram, from where it all started. So I was on the footpath for 4 days, and I realized that what it is to be poor. That's the point. It pricked me, and I made a vow that I would do something about it. I didn't know how at that time. I was just 16 years old. Climbed the corporate ladder, and as I started climbing the corporate ladder, I was doing very well, because the sickness and all my other friends and absolutely young friends told me that they went into health, they went into exercise, they were more conscious of living, and that applied to me also. Like every second, I was praising God and myself that thank you for keeping me alive, and I was utilizing it on the footpaths of Kolkata, feeding children who actually sleep in the night, and they are the most suspect to get the sickness because rain, shine, or any weather, they are out there without any defense. And that's where my gospel of teaching them, basic hygiene and signs of, if you have fever, what you should do, which are the hospitals, put in doctors into these camps. I have 367 children who are on the footpaths, and we made it a point that every day, 10 o'clock at night, myself, my co-trustee Jhumki, she's just 41 years old, her daughter who was 15 at that time, and a few others. My wife was alive at that point of time. I lost her 2 years ago. So we went out onto the roads preaching. And now today, I have a school inside the red light area. Now that's another very high risk zone of this particular disease or COVID, because they work under extreme hard condition, 6 feet by 6 feet cubicles. So the children are in our custody, in our care, and that's why it's just about a walking distance from here. We go there every day, give them food. Food is one of the things I learned. Good nutritious food keeps any disease away, and that's exactly what we do. And in Sundarban, I am building a school, 225-seat school in an island which is not accessible per se. We have there a hospital which is coming up, and also 100 sewing machines as livelihood for the widows, because their husbands are taken away by the tigers, crocodiles, or snakes. And I have uprooted myself from Kolkata, and I live in that island. I live with them. And for me to spread the gospel is much easier, because I'm accepted as a villager now and not Shahar ke Babu, coming to teach. So I am there, and I catch them any point of time, and I do it. And I'm so blessed because every time I take a step, I see Mother Teresa in front of me, smiling and pointing out, what to do in our own immaculate way. That's the, persona that I carry forward and do my work. And I would like to hear all of y'all talk so that I also learn from y'all and carry that back into Sundarban, because we are landlocked. 142 rivers, 108 islands, 58 inhabited. I live in one of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Arup. That's truly, these could have been like your golden years of sitting back in sitting in your veranda, enjoying the sun and a nice cup of chai, and yet you're probably working as hard, if not harder than any of us that might be, completely different age groups. Really an inspiring story there. We'll come back to that. One of the aspects with medication with TB is I don't know how anybody had their experience with sexual desire? Did anybody feel like a drop of sexual desire? Did anyone struggle on any points relating to that? Did you have a fear of infecting your partner? Did you have a fear that you will never find a partner? I'll open it to all my panelists if anybody would like to take that question.
Yeah, may I?
Please, Arun.
Yeah. See, I was very lucky in the sense that when I had TB, I was told I'll die in 6 months. So that was the first thing. And I actually lived till in the hospital for 2 years. So the medication, food, and all that were taken care of there. And obviously, as I was growing up as a teenager, the desires are always there. Okay, that didn't stop. And I was fortunate that as soon as I came out, my wife was waiting to marry me. So at the age of 20, we got married, and I told her that look, we should not have children. She said, let's have the child and leave the rest to God. So we had two beautiful children. Sex was never a problem. I was working, and neither she was scared about it, And this is something where we discussed this at length as to what was happening. And when both the children, were born, they were absolutely clean. They were 26 for whatever reasons. Both the children had a little bit of it, but 21 days of good medicines and good treatment got them out. They're both clean now. But I'm with you on this. I think it's a normal life. And that's something that I try to advocate with Mother Teresa, because I worked extensively with her, going from point to point. We would tell them lead a normal life. Lots of taboos, and I'm sure you're going to question us on that, so I'll leave that aside. But I think we should take life as it comes and be absolutely normal, because it is, if I take all my own precautions, it's difficult that I will transfer it elsewhere. That's a myth that a lot of us carry with us, and especially women. I was very lucky that Dalia, my wife, never had any problems on this.
Lovely. Thank you, Arup. Is it their experience or their thoughts? I know for a fact that I was worried, but we didn't even end up getting them tested because, as the doctors have mentioned, right, that most of us, like 40% of us, have latent TB and we're exposed, but it will manifest only if your immunity drops or there's certain comorbidities. But definitely during the entire year of my treatment, there was zero. I mean, like my sexual urges were nil because the exhaustion and the nausea, right? But yet, you feel like, oh my God, do I have to perform because am I being a bad wife? And these questions do arise. And I think it's important for us to be able to have open discussions. It's not always easy in traditional Indian societies, but I think that's where if care workers come into the house and sit down with the rest of the family and they initiate these conversations, I think, again, we'll surprise ourselves. And if it's women who are suffering from TB, I think that men could actually be very, very understanding. And of course, if the males in the family are the ones suffering, just the compassion of everybody else around to know that, and even for caregivers, it's really tiring, it's really exhausting, and it's emotionally very stressful for caregivers as well. So to have all of these conversations, would anybody like to chip in on what it was like for your family members or those looking after you? I can only imagine how stressful that must have been for your family, your parents, your loved ones. Did they have fears for you? Did they express anything?
Yeah, actually, parents had that fear. And we all have the tendency of like hiding things. I don't know why. This is something I can't do it. We all have. It's not about. We all have tendency to hide things, and this is this thing to be hidden. It's like implied, So parents had that fear. I agree. Like I cannot understand how parents feel, but they had that fear that now she has TB. So we have to make it a point that others should not know it. And they felt that why should anybody know it? Like we are there to take care. Why should anybody know? But yes, my family and my extended family, my dad and his brothers knew, and his brother's family also knew. This many people knew, but beyond that, nobody knew I had TB. In fact, my TB was kind. Even my doctor, when he saw me for the first and second line treatment, he was like, three of us went, and he was like, "Who is the patient?" He couldn't make out who is the patient, and he's like, "Who is the patient?" So in my case, only my near ones knew, but yes, my family was afraid to let others know beyond my extended family, beyond my father's brothers or my mom. No, my father's brothers and their family. Beyond that, nobody knew I had TB till I joined the Survivor Against TB organization. When they came to know that okay, you had TB, we couldn't find out. It was like that.
Yes.
So yes,
and
that is, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Please finish. Yes.
Yeah, that is fear parents, I think most of the parents have. And it's like they have and they will be having, I feel that. But they should not have it because there's a point of hiding things because we are like conditioned to hide things. It's not only about this. Many things we keep hiding. If we make some good recipe, we'll also hide that. We'll not share the recipe with people. So this happens.
So it does take courage, and like I said, it's the fear, right? For a lot of our survivors that did come out and join SATB, it was this, right? That suddenly my neighbors will find out, all the people I hid it from. But more and more we hear stories of how so much of that fear was unfounded. Yes, the stigma still does exist. Yes, there will be those people who say, now shadi nahi karne wala, all of that. But those are, I mean, I'm not saying they're outliers, but I'm saying very often that the fear is what holds us back, and we lose out on this opportunity to create these genuine connects. I will also say that we, SATB, we are a family to each other as well right now. We also have a WhatsApp group which is constantly buzzing, and just to know that you're part of a conversation. There are people you can lean on. In fact, I'll say my SATB fellows, they keep me up. They want to play Antakshari all the time. But literally just having this family to be with and have these conversations with, really, it's so empowering and such a solace. SATB, we've helped people get medication across to remote areas or in places where stocks were low. So just being, you need to put yourself out there and say that, listen, I need help and I just need somebody to talk to, and we are there for you, and you can hopefully be there for the next person and not have them suffer alone. I wanted to ask again to anybody, does anybody have any after effects after the medication? Are there any lingering effects on anybody's health? I know some of us feel healthier than before, but anybody has any? I know for a fact that my lungs will probably always be a little scarred, but it was my personal challenge to build my lung capacity up. Happy to say it's better than it was before TB. So I wear my scar with pride. But do we have anything else?
Yeah.
Yes, Arup.
Yeah, I went back into active sports after I contacted tuberculosis. And I was a professional footballer, cricketer, hockey player in Kolkata. I did that. But the second time after I had the relapse, my lungs collapsed. Okay, during the two bouts of sickness, the right lung totally went away, and whatever little was on the left side, COPD is something. First, I got asthma, and and it slowly started getting worse. So as I started aging, like right now, COPD is something that I'm living with for the last 8 years, but it's not stopping me from working. I'm so fortunate because there was a time when I just wanted to end my life. It was me and the balcony 8 years ago. I was doing very well and there was a lot of money for the family. My son at that time was about 42, my daughter 41, and I said, okay, let me hop off. And I remember I had tweeted to Amitabh Bachchan because I remember he's a TB survivor and he's a COVID patient. And he wrote back, live with it, that's the only answer I do. That's it. That was that one message out of thousands probably to the world in Twitter to help. And it stopped me. And then I started doing a lot of research understanding who are the others that have got this. And I found that most of the people who's who in the world of sports or in the glamour profession are all having it, and they're carrying on with life. That's the time in 2013 I realized that Notun Jibon is something I need to do. And I had opened out a page even without knowing why. And I put Notun Jibon. And here I am today, working in the field. Sundarban is 3 hours from here, on the streets of Kolkata, and I don't miss my beat. I have to go out, I have to go in, end of story, even if I have to wear an oxygen mask. And I am not scared. I was at one point of time. There is no fear. But I would like to bring in a small point here. There are still people, and when I go to their home, I can see the plates getting changed. And that hurts. So the fear is with them, it's not with me. And I've stopped going to people's homes because I don't like plates to be switched, or a tumbler, stainless steel coming instead of let's say a glass that way. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, absolutely there with you. But yes, I did have a lot of problems in my lungs.
That's a very powerful story you shared there, Arup. I think a key point, and some of us have trained as suicide first responders as well. I think a key point for this sort of protracted, treatment time and recovery time with TB is that very often, and correct me if this was, tell me if this was your experience, it's not so much that we want our life to end, it's that we want the pain to end. We want to see light at the end of the day. And so much of that us standing on that balcony, and I've been there as well, not during TB, but in another point in my life. But that point where you're standing at the balcony, it's not really us saying that, listen, I just want to, transcend this world or whatever. It's really us saying that we don't want to be suffering this pain anymore. We can't. We simply can't suffer this pain anymore. And we would love for somebody to just reach out and say, hey, you're not alone, and that you can get through this. And when we hold hands, and again, from a behaviorism point of view, from a scientific perspective, just having somebody by your side will make the mountain in front of you seem a little bit more achievable, the path less steep, which is another reason why nobody should have to go through this alone. And we all know that you can be in the most crowded of cities and feel absolutely alone, feel completely hopeless, and wake up every day thinking that I really should have been feeling better by now, and it's not happening. There was somebody that was in treatment for 7 years. This is really a place where a community can help, and asking for help, and it's really our right to be able to receive the support from whichever community or group that this might be. Thank you, Arup. That was such a wonderful point, and so powerful as well.